I really don't want to do this. I'm serious. I really don't want to do this. Just thinking about this one's giving me a migraine. As you can see, now, there's some good things about this review. First off, Roger Smith goes back. It's a good sign. Thanks to Prince of Tennis Girl from the club who redid my tie for me. That's right, my costume's actually getting better. But, unfortunately, the anime being reviewed is not getting a whole lot better. This week, it's something I remember distinctly from childhood. I loved it then. Looking back on it, I ask, why the hell was I even a part of this? Why did I like this? How did this go on for 500 episodes? If you haven't figured out what I'm talking about, well, listen up and pay attention, because this episode is going to be 2 parts. That's right. 2 parts, because YouTube's too fucking cheap to let me do 20-minute videos, so I'll try to keep this to 2 parts. If I go to 3, I'll probably shoot myself. If you haven't guessed what I'm talking about, it's the mid-90s hit Pokemon. Dear God, is this going to kill me? You know what? This is coming off, so I don't choke myself to death. Gloves are off for this one. Dear God, this one's going to suck. Bad. For those of you who don't know, Pokemon was a series created by Nintendo in the mid-90s, specifically 1995, with the first games leaving in 96. The whole idea of the game was the player was to go around catching Pokemon, or Pocket Monster. Hence the short version of the name Pokemon that we get in the English version. Now, the first game that came in 96, but you actually probably won't recognize unless you're a fan. That's because it only was released in Japan. This is Pokemon Pocket Monster Green. Now, this version was released for the Game Boy in Japan in 1996. This version would later be remade for the Game Boy Advance and brought over as Leaf Green in about 2005. Now, I've never played this game due to the fact that you can't find it in American shelves. So, and also I wouldn't be able to understand what's going on because it is in Japanese. However, the next 2 versions you'll actually recognize. This is red version and blue version. And if you owned a Game Boy in the mid-90s, you probably had these games. They flew off of shelves and were probably one of the top, they were up there in the top-selling Game Boy games. Now, the thing about these is they were also not only a top-selling Game Boy title, but a huge RPG. I mean, this was probably the first RPG I ever played. And it kind of turned into a gateway drug to get me into Final Fantasy and Legend of Dragoon, but enough about that. These games were so popular that Nintendo decided that there could be a better way in order to rip money off the series. And there's only one thing in Japan that's as popular as game with kids. And if you know me at all, you'll realize what this actually is. Well, in April 1997, Pokemon the anime hit everyone. Now, with 580 episodes and 12 movies, it's one of the longer-running anime series. Probably the longest that has made it to the United States. There are longer ones out there. Doraemon has been running since probably like the 70s, non-stop, but still a very long one. Now, there's something really obnoxious about the beginning. Now, I should take a minute and talk about this opening theme, which is the American opening theme, and dear God, you cannot go anywhere with this playing and not hear it. It's just so damn catchy. I mean, it's so recognizable, it's not even funny. I was sitting at a convention just earlier this year, and a guy dressed in a Pokemon and Pokemon trainer outfits runs in and I need the Pokemon theme. I'm like, okay, I have it if you need it. God, that was the biggest mistake of my life. I ended up giving it to him, and he ended up singing it in front of the entire fucking convention. I wanted to shoot myself. However, I didn't have a gun, so that proved a little hard. But just listen to it. let's talk about Pokemon as a little bit more into the series. It involves usually 3 characters going from town to town, catching as many Pokemon as they possibly can. Now, you may be noticing I'm using a lot of from the middle season. That's the most recent I've watched, and it's was around the peak, and it's the easiest to find stuff on, because apparently May of the 3 girls is the most popular, but I'll touch on that later. One of the things about Pokemon is it's probably become the new Dragon Ball and new Dragon Ball Z. Like, Dragon Ball Z has had a ton of games made about it, so has Pokemon. Except Pokemon beats Dragon Ball by 280 episodes. Dear God. No, I'm sorry, that's 380 episodes, because Dragon Ball went for about 200. But if you honestly thought that theme song I played a few minutes ago, or just a minute ago, was annoying, wait till you meet the characters. Alright, here's the main character, Ash, with his Pikachu. Now, Ash is from Pallet Town. Now, there is something a little interesting about Ash. His voice changes about halfway through the series. This is because, one, the series started off being dubbed by 4 kids, and then went to the Pokemon group. I'll touch on that later. But the main thing about Ash is, there's no real character development, except in the movies. But whenever there's character development in the movies, they somehow figure out a way to completely erase his memory. So I'm sitting there thinking, what's the point of character development? Now, his Pikachu is an electric rat and mouse type thing that doesn't know what... I'm not sure what it is. It's a Pokemon. That's all I can explain it as. And the basic idea, Ash's basic goal is to become a Pokemon Master, which is collect all 150, then all 250, and then all who the fuck knows how many Pokemon there are now, because they keep adding them, and collect 8 gym badges in each region, and become the Pokemon champion in that region. Yeah, you may be asking yourself, how old is Ash anyways? Well, he's 10. Yeah, he's 10, and he's fucking going off in superpowered cockfighting. Where the hell's his parents? You see his mom, who, quite frankly, is about the hottest mom you'll ever see in a children's show. I'm not sure why they drew her the way they did. I'll just touch on her later in the characters, but she's sending her son, her 10-year-old, to fight off with an electric rat who shocks the hell out of him in the first fucking episode. What the hell is she thinking? Why is she sending him off to go do these battles? God, talk about bad parenting. And Ash, they need to have PETA called on him. Child Services and PETA would love to hear about this family. Alright, so I'm running out of time here, but the rest of this review will be up on a second part. That's because YouTube's too fucking cheap to let me have a second part, or even a 20-minute video because I can't get director status because I haven't been around long enough. But I'll touch on characters, dubbing, a little bit about the animation, about the ridiculous amount of movies they've had. Also, tell your friends about this, because the more viewers I have, the more likely I am to make movies. And if you have any anime that you'd really like me to review, go ahead and send me some suggestions. And if you need any help, I can help you out any way I want. I know J1, I helped you out a little while ago with some lists, and I'd be glad to help out with anyone who needs help on any kind of anime thing and lend what knowledge I have.